Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of AI Amigos Show. My name is Marina, and I'm very happy to be here with my very good friend, James. How are you, James?
Hey, Marina, I'm doing well. Broadcasting from a new place, but I'm doing well. We're, we're,
Well,
down to, we're down to China, man. It's okay. You'll be
we,
back next
we
week.
are -1 today, -1. Well, we send a very big kiss to Shen Chao. Um, so, we have a very interesting topic today, but before getting started, I would like to remind you that we are sponsored by Tequila AI. So, if you're looking to implement AI solutions in your company or organization, or even suggest this to someone that you know, you can share the details of Tequila AI, and they will treat you super well when you tell them that you come from ourselves. So, jumping to the topic of today, and speaking of AI startups, like everyone knows that I work for the Startup Accelerator, and I am in a kind of ecosystem, where AI is actually deploying and developing. So the big question here is why the big giants are actually observing the startups. Why are they so interested in them? And particularly as well, something that it's really important to consider is what do they get out of this, right? So then this is actually a very nice topic, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and I see we got some viewers in there, so please feel free to ask questions because join the conversation. Don't feel embarrassed.
Please do. We would be very happy to learn about your thoughts. And well, maybe you are actually one of these AI startups, right? That they
You
they
never
try to
know. You never know.
exactly. So then you can actually talk to us and tell us what is your experience. So what they have seen so far is that there are more and more accelerators. To be honest, in my opinion, there are really many. When you are involved in that world, then you realize that there are different incubators provided not just by the big giants, but also by the government, right? So then it's not just a one way to go. For example, NVIDIA has the Inception program. Google offers an incubator program as well.
Oh, Microsoft.
AWS, Microsoft, AWS has some credits if you're starting with your startup as well. So the main point is you need to consider that nothing is for free in this life, right? There is nothing such a free lunch.
No, if it's free, you're the product. That's basically what I've always been known.
Well, this is what they tell us always when we start studying data analytics. I remember when I started studying data analytics, I just started, like questioning all my choices, especially accepting the cookies, right?
I think you were making some bad choices, buddy. And I don't know,
Oh,
man.
I can assure you that not some, many of them, like until that moment, even it's kind of okay. Do you agree to sell your soul to the devil? Yes, I consent.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me that you read all the cookies. Come on.
Well, not the cookies, but I mean, you read before you sign, or at least you have some idea what's going on. I mean,
No,
obviously,
before signing,
I
yes,
haven't
but like
gone
when
through.
you consent to the cookies, sometimes it's okay. Either you consent or you cannot read the news. So then you want the cookie, or you want to get like shredding, like crying because you cannot check it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that worries me now. I'm worried now.
No, but seriously, something that I really have seen so far is there are different startups that they have great ideas. They can bring their ideas to the market. But here I kind of see like two sides, right? So then the bright side is that there is a lot of funding. Lately, there are different, AI hubs, I would say. In Europe only, we have London, Paris, Berlin. Well, now Hybron is growing so much here in Germany, Amsterdam, Dublin. And we can keep going on and on. Stockholm as well. Um,
I don't
and
want to
and
go there because you get a syndrome there. Apparently, I don't know.
well, so I could say that you have a Stockholm syndrome about me, like I'm far away and we're still, in touch. So you
That's,
miss it. You miss being mistreated.
That is true.
But seriously, the main point is, and something that I would always mention is, yes, there are many hubs, there are many governments that are providing support to the startups now, and especially those startups that are deploying AI products, and the companies they are offering this. And the bright side is, yes, if you're a startup, then you have more possibilities than before, and then you can adapt, you are flexible. It's kind of, this is the good part. But the bad part of it, and I dare to say the bad part of it, is well, so
You're
if
screwing yourself
someone
to death.
is putting fundings there, then they have some share of your company. So then when you grow, they own part of your idea, if not all.
Well, I mean that was very similar to what happened to, or I shouldn't say it was, what happened with OpenAI. I mean, they were, a big investor was Microsoft, and remember when they had fired Sam Altman way back when, and then they had to bring him back because Microsoft said no, he's not fired, and they brought him back.
Mm.
So I mean, the big techs want to be, they want to have their finger in, the hand in the cookie jar, as we would say. They want to make sure that. I mean, I can understand to a certain extent. Organizations are afraid. They're afraid to be, someone's going to innovate something and then they're going to be left out and they're going to be wiped away, and that's a very real fear. I mean, it's not just
Well,
organizations; it's individuals as well.
but on the other hand, I mean, like the big companies, if they see that there is some startup that has something super innovative, they can even put all the resources to work and get it running, or even they have the capacity to buy the idea.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah,
I
they do. I mean, and also like what other companies will do, they'll just buy the company, and then, or they'll pay the employee. I mean, you saw what happened with Facebook. They paid that guy close to $1 billion to bring him on, and the guy, and Zuckerberg said, it's worth it to stay ahead in the game, and that's what he wanted. And
Well,
that's
so
what he
then,
got.
James, we are wasting time, like doing the podcast. We should be deploying some idea
I
to
just
get
want
1 billion.
Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening, I want you to know, if you pay me $1 billion, I will consider your offer.
I
I
would
don't get
think
out of
about
bed for
that.
less than 600 million. I don't get out of bed for these, or at least that's.
No, but seriously, what you say is totally true, and I believe that one of the strategies of the giant companies is this, right? So then is checking for innovation. Is actually, I feel that AI is evolving that fast that it's hard to keep up with everything, and it's hard to put all your resources and doing all the research and development in everything that you can think of, right? So then if you have some startups that they have, as you say, innovative ideas, maybe they are actually copying with emerging trends, for example, or well, they already have some clients, or they are very very good talents, and the companies they want to have them in their big tech, right? So then this is as well
Or they just
something
want to take their
interesting.
IP, or they just want to take their IP,
Oh yes, and on the other hand as well, James, something that I also have seen, and this is unfortunate, is that many startups they are developing products that in the end they end up competing with the big giants, and that is actually not cool because you can never compete. I mean, imagine
or
like
you
competing
just
with
want to,
OpenAI or Apple.
or they just want to get bought out. Like say, look, I'll come up with an idea, I'll put them together, and I'll get bought out for X amount of money, and that's me retired.
Well, that would be good, but look what is happening with N8N, for instance, like with OpenAI, and even well with the Asians of AWS. I know that maybe they are targeting different markets, but well, maybe AWS is targeting a different market. But N8N originally, what they wanted was doing all the automation without the need of knowing the code behind it, right? So then I would say that the niche was really good. But the problem is OpenAI made it extremely easy for people to look after this, and to work with this. If you open ChatGPT, intuitively you know how to work with it. It's not like rocket science. I would say that this is the first time that people could really interact with the machine.
Yeah,
And
and so AWS has come out with their agent core as well, just this week, and that is a competition to, or I don't know if it would be an N8N killer, but it's definitely one for I was talking to Jin Chao about that today. We were talking a little bit about it. He was in Dublin today, and we were
mhm,
talking. We were at an AWS event, and it was just basically saying that the big thing is that they want to take his vibe coding as well.
mhm,
So that is very interesting how organizations are looking to to take over. I mean, if you look at if you say so if a company wants to bring, let's say AWS or Google or Microsoft wants to bring a product to the market, right? So they want to bring that product to the market. What type of innovation, research and development? What do they have to pay? Or they just buy someone who's doing it and it's done.
mm.
And I think that's what
No,
they
no,
or you just copy it. You take you just copy what they're doing. and
of course, and I agree with that. But the thing is, I feel that the companies are targeting different kind of people. So AWS is targeting people who are more prepared in terms of the technical part, while N8N or OpenAI, they are targeting people who maybe they don't have a lot of experience or a lot of knowledge in the coding or in the developing part. So then people who are mostly working with flows, something that is ready to go, and then you can automate whatever you consider, just working with the flows. If you work in operations at some point of your life, then you don't really need to be an expert in coding, for example.
yeah,
So then well AWS, I feel that the market that they are targeting is mostly let's say data scientists or AI engineers, right?
yeah.
That's kind of, so then in that sense, and I will jump with another comment. So I feel that now the market is so big, it's kind of, there is fish for
There's
every
a lot
taste.
going on, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So then it's kind of okay for everybody. And even today we had a person in one of the sessions that we deliver in the AI track, that she mentioned that she was creating an organization about deep tech, and then she contacted people who were working like with marketing, for example, or community management and so on. And with these people, what happened was that they were so enthusiastic about AI, but they didn't have the knowledge of the coding. So then said, okay, we want to be part of it, but we don't really know. And then what she did was sending them to learn N8N. I
To,
said,
to, to
okay,
learn AI terms,
sorry?
to learn AI terms that we said.
No. Just to, like start like playing, let's say, with the marketing using the N8N flows. And they say, okay, but if you were like creating flows on how, it works, for example, in HubSpot or Salesforce or something like this, you can actually work on that. And she sent them like to learn N8N, to be part of the team, even though they were not super deep tech uh, knowledgeable per people, let's say. So that's why I said the market is actually huge. So then now it's like there are many people who want to implement AI and they don't know how to start. Even last week we had a speaker that he is offering implementing agents, right, for restaurants. And then he says, like, the problem is when you talk to people, you said, okay, we want, if you do want to introduce AI, yes, super cool, I want it. Okay, so what are your biggest challenges? What do we need? Oh, I don't know, everything is running fine.
Yeah,
It's kind of, just, I want to be there because of the hype.
you don't want to miss out. You don't want it's FOMO. Have you heard of FOMO?
Exactly. It's kind of, you want to follow the crowd. Everyone is using it. I want to
Yeah,
use it,
fear,
but I don't
fear,
know
fear of
where.
missing out. Fear of missing out.
Well, but
FOMO.
James, like up to, well, you have a lot of experience working as well. So you know that many companies still work with pen and paper, or even with Excel when they're analyzing data. So it's more common than we
You're
think.
not supposed to say anything of that, somebody.
But coming back to the startups, and I would like to remind our audience that if you have any questions, if you want to jump to the conversation, even to comment your experience, you're more than welcome to do so. But the thing is, coming back to the startups, I believe that what is the biggest game here for the giants is to see innovative efficiency, market reach. As you said, like if everything is done and I don't need to spend like in research or so whatever, that's more than welcome. But
Yeah.
from the government, what do you think that the government get out of it?
Well, I mean, there's a
I
lot of, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of military applications. Additionally, there's, technological advances. I mean, if you see during the late 90s, 1990s into the early 2000s, the US had massive growth. They were almost paid off their national debt, and that was all based on, the growth of the internet and .com. So they're definitely seeing, that happen with this AI. And the concern is, countries and governments will be left behind. And technologically, and technology, as we've seen, has been something that have led countries to be in leaders for years. And so that's why I see where governments want that, including with efficiencies and how can we lower expenditures and more efficient. I mean, today I was at an event with Jintel, as I mentioned. We went to AWS, and then we were at Advanced 2025, and there's a AI lab with Dublin City Council, and they're looking at ways how they can improve processes and procedures within the council itself, to make things more efficient. And so it was on the innovation part. So it was quite interesting conversation. So you can see that the governments are looking at this saying, well, how can we use this to improve?
Yes, but also, like all the support, the monetary support, the funding that the startups get from the government, I feel like somehow is because the governments consider that it will come back in taxes. So then if they sell the product, maybe, they can charge for taxes in the future. So then this is one of my
definitely
thoughts.
by growth, yeah.
Exactly. But not all the startups actually reach to the success, unfortunately. And this is kind of the big deal in here, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I feel that here is kind of a bet. It's like you play the lottery and maybe you win. Or, you consider that if you have like 10 startups and 2 out of them succeed, then with them you can cover all the expenses that you had, along the time with the other ones.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know how is the situation with the banks about the startups and entrepreneurs. I'm not really sure if it is that easy. Usually the banks, they check that you are like solid to pay.
Well, I mean, it's all based on cash flows. But as you know, with cash flows, I mean that cash flows can dry up very quickly. I mean, we see, for example, one was Chug. I don't know if you know about Chug. It's Chug or Chegg? Chug. I mean, they lost a huge amount of market capitalization. And if you think about like banks loaning their money because their market cap was like in the billions, like I think 6 billion, and it dropped overnight based on something that OpenAI produced. So they were trying to curate a knowledge base for students for very specific subjects as such. So like, let's say mathematics or sciences or any of that kind of stuff, right? And so they were curating like correct information. So they would pay contributors. So let's say, for example, you and I we've lectured in university. So we would be a contributor, and we would then say, well, this information is correct and that's not. So it was almost like a Wikipedia to a certain extent, but the contributors were in higher education. Not that contributors in Wikipedia are not, but for the most part, they're not. And so then they would then sell this to students, and then OpenAI produced or allowed people to upload PDF files, and overnight, Chegg's stock price just
Yes.
No,
I mean, like.
But as I'm saying, that they could have gone to the bank and say, our market capitalization is worth, 6 billion. Oh yeah, we'll give you a loan on 100 million or 500 million, and then the next thing you know, the company's worth like 5 million, and then what? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, no, 100%, 100%. But something interesting here in Germany that I have seen, because of course, like I talk to a lot of startups, and many times what is happening is the accelerators, they kind of the bridge between the research and the entrepreneurial life. And then you have maybe a lot of technical people, for example, that they didn't have any business experience, and this is what they need to actually, like sell the product out there, go into the market. But what I have seen is, let's say that you have done your PhD or master's thesis, whatever, here in Germany, right? And then you learn let's imagine that you do a master's in data science or a
Yeah.
master's in data analytics. Let's just imagine. So then you can ask help from the government that said, okay, I want to start my startup and I want to work on this and this and this, and then offering, let's say, data science services. I don't know, automating dashboards, whatever. And then Germany is helping the startups and they're giving them some kind of funding that is, it's a kind of a stipend, let's say. But it's a good salary, I would say. It's not actually like a salary where you say, okay, it's just like 500 euro, you cannot survive, right? So then they can survive and then they can focus on the startup, and they offer different events, and they are sending information of, okay, there is like at the startup event here and there, so then the startups are up to date with whatever is happening and they go and they can grow. I feel that this is a very, very huge support, and especially, like the main part, or the most important part here is that like they are really investing in people who are educated here to give something back to the society. So then
Okay.
if you study data science, then you can give it back through your product. I think this is something brilliant, and I really hope that it actually works in the long term.
Well, I mean, it would be. I mean, as I was mentioned, for all the previous reasons before, in regards to the funding, like or technology, not the funding, what you're saying, but the technology and how the country can grow, and how I mean, I think they were saying today that Ireland is one of the forerunners in regards to AI. I mean, AI is widely accepted in Ireland, so or really there's funding, and yourself, like you and me, we got funding to the government to pay for our university master degree in
Yes.
AI and data analytics. I mean, and look at where we are now, and that's they're seeing now. So then we get a higher paying job, and therefore we get a higher paying job. Then what happens is then we pay more in taxes.
Yes. Well, but I would say that it changed my life, so I'm happy enough to pay more taxes if this is where I am today.
I don't know about that. I know you weren't liking paying taxes the other day.
No, well,
I
no,
noticed.
no. Nobody likes, but you cannot avoid the debt and taxes. It's something like, it is always there.
As we say, it's a good problem to have.
This is rich people problem, but I'm not
Yeah.
rich yet. Not yet. Maybe when we develop our idea and the big giants pay us like 1 billion, then it would be a nice problem to have, like how much we pay in taxes for this
Well, I
billion.
wonder, as anyone that's here in our audience has ever used any government funding or help to help educate into the data analytics or AI like we did, and there's still loads of money that's available in programs, at least here in Ireland. I'm sure they're in Germany as well, but here in Ireland.
In Germany as well. Here in Germany, education is actually free for residents.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you right there. It's not free.
Well, I know. So it's paid in taxes. I know. But you don't have to pay like a monthly fee whatsoever. This is what I mean. Maybe you just pay a contribution, and it's much less than in other countries. So in that sense, it's actually really good. And also like these programs, like the NDV Inception program, Google Incubator, AWS. So then there is a lot of help. And if you want to educate yourself, as James said, well, Incubator could be the way to go if you want to grow your startup. But if you want to educate yourself in terms of technology, look for possibilities, within your country. Now, Spain is actually offering courses to study AI, and the conditions are that you live in Spain and then that you are working full time. So then if that is the situation, you can study in the evenings, which is great, I would say, because
that's not a bad deal. I was just in Spain last week. It's not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's not really a bad deal. I remember my when I did my MBA, of course I was not resident for a long time enough in Ireland, and I was not super sure yet on what I wanted, but I wanted to actually pursue an MBA because I wanted to be in a management position. And I paid in rates for over a year to be able to pay for it, so then, and I studied in the evenings as well. And then when I could study data analytics, for me, it was kind of a game changer, it literally changed my life. And then the best decision ever was doing the master's in AI. That opened like so many doors, and
Yeah,
I
you
could
met
get
me.
more
Come
understanding.
on. Come on, you met me and then you met Jin Chao.
Well, I met you in the data analytics, and I met Jan Chao in the AI, and here we are. So then this is how the synergies are working among people who are in the same well, on the
You were
same
saying
page.
you paid rates? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what that means.
I pay the MBA. I pay it in rates, like per month, like different payments per month. I didn't pay everything at once when I did my MBA.
Oh, you did a payment plan. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Is it
Okay.
not in rates? This is how it is called. I'm not saying this wrong. Okay, well, so
I've
then
never,
you.
normally,
Okay.
at least in Ireland, when I hear about rates, it's to do with business taxes.
Okay. So then, well, but I pay like I made the payment plan, and I pay like month by month, and
okay.
But I was 1 year paying for it. So then it was not cheap, and especially for a person who was working in retail. So then for you who are here in the audience, like I had another life, When I was working in retail, I was not playing with data.
The Marina, what do you call retail life? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. So then, well, seriously, sometimes when I see, the memories of the social media reminding me what I was doing like 10 years ago or 7 years ago, whatever, I just, well, so I'm crying because I'm not that young, some wrinkles
Come on,
are
you
actually
don't miss it. Be
realizing,
honest. You don't miss
unfortunately.
it.
Luckily for me, no white hairs yet, but but
Not that you're going to say anyway.
yeah, true. But anyway, so then the point is, I would say when when I see these memes, well, not a meme, but like these notes that appear on social media that says 5 years ago you were dreaming to be in the position that you are today, I would say it's totally true. So then educating yourself and moving forward, it's really worth it.
Yeah.
So
I concur.
So, James, we are reaching the end of our program. I would like to, yes, I would like to thank our audience to stay here and to stick until the end. Remember to follow us on Instagram, AI Amigos Show. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Subscribe and like.
Yes, you can like this episode, and you can share this with people who you consider they need it. So thank you once again for being here. Yes. Thank you, James. And well, I'm looking forward to meeting you next week. Have a good one.
You won't be here next week, you said, from what I remember.
I won't, but I will be, like spying on you.
Yeah, of course.
To see how are you doing.
That's what Jin Chao's doing right now. He's spying on us. He says he's at the airport, and he's spying on us. All right, guys. Thanks for being here.
Have a good one.